Good morning, YouTubers. T Square with T Square Talk. Hope everybody's having a great day. Today, I want to take a little bit of time to just kind of talk about what I see coming down the road pretty soon with gold and silver. I also want to talk a little bit about something that was said in yesterday's video about the gold-silver ratio. For some people that just don't understand, I had gotten kind of I took it as kind of a little bit of a rude comment, and I was like, maybe I misspoke in talking about what I wanted to do, what my goals were. And someone essentially said you would be a fool and to think other people are fools and all this other stuff. So we're going to talk a little bit about that here in a minute. If you enjoyed today's video, please take a quick minute, hit that thumbs up button, and leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. So right off the bat, the first thing I want to address is this gold to silver ratio. Yesterday when I did my video, I took a little time and I explained why I wanted to trade some gold for silver. Now, I know the person that wrote the comment kind of laughed that anybody would, I guess, trade silver for gold. And maybe I didn't make my argument a little bit clear on why I would rather have silver. Me personally, I buy gold when gold is cheap. If I have an opportunity, if the premiums are high on silver and I see a good deal on a gold coin and I can afford it, then I will pick it up. However, with that being said, when opportunities like right now come along, where it's 102 ounces of silver equal to 1 ounce of gold, there's a couple things you can do here. There's a lot of people out there that would rather have gold. I mean, I literally know someone that traded some silver for gold. Now, granted, they didn't have any sizable amount. You know, if you trade, 50 ounces for a half ounce of gold, hey, he did well. He picked up some gold. He thinks that gold is going to keep going higher. I'm not going to say that anybody is foolish for going one way or the other. My personal belief is I think silver has a lot of room to run. And with that being said, I think that 102 to 1 is going to come down. How down? Who knows? The higher it goes, the quicker it's going to fall. We've seen that happen. Literally the last time we got up to 125 to 1, it fell like a rock all the way down to 80 to 1 in a fairly short time period. And so right now, 102 is high to me. However, it's not as high as it has been. And as for someone thinking, oh, it's foolish to do that, no one knows the future. No one knows if gold is going to keep going up and silver won't jump. There's a lot of people out there that watch this channel that say they would rather have gold over silver. But there's a lot of us that say they'd rather have silver over gold. And so once you understand that, you understand that there's two sides to that coin and two things that could play out. And when I did a poll not too long ago, it was pretty well split. It was actually 55% of the people wanted gold, 45% of the people wanted silver. And, so there's no real foolish answer because the truth of the matter is nobody knows what's going to happen, including myself. And I just have a firm belief that silver will do better. And I also believe that if I need money, it's pretty difficult to sell a 1 ounce gold coin. A lot of people can't afford that. And so with silver, I could take a tube in and get, $750, whatever the case may be, if I absolutely needed money. So that's kind of where I was coming from in that previous video. And if you didn't watch it, you can go check it out. I laid out some charts where you can see how rare it is to see this gold-silver ratio at the rate it is. Now, honestly, here's what's going to change that. One of two things have to happen. Either silver has to go up to catch up with the gains in gold, or gold has to come down. And in this environment of uncertainty, tariffs, geopolitical risk, a lot of conflicts, uncertainty out there, I expect that metals are going to continue to go higher. And gold has already started going up. And a lot of big money will push into gold first. It's not until a lot of people will wake up and all of a sudden want to start investing in precious metals, and then they're going to find out, hey, gold is just too expensive, so maybe I should do silver instead. And then all of a sudden they start pouring their money into silver. Now, what do I think could be one of the catalysts that really propels silver a lot higher? So next month on May 6th and May 7th, we have the next Federal Reserve meeting. And a lot of y'all may have been following this. Maybe some of you haven't been. But there's a lot of issues right now between Donald Trump and Jerome Powell. Donald Trump is trying to protect his legacy. He don't want to see us go into a recession. He don't want the economy to do bad under his watch. If that happens, he's going to need someone to blame. And there's been a lot of back and forth between Jerome Powell and Trump, where Trump says, hey, I want him gone. I have the ability to get rid of him. And then there's a lot of Jerome Powell saying he doesn't have the authority to get rid of me, and on and on and on. And what that does is that creates almost like I'll show you. And I'll be honest, one of the things, I would not want to throw that in Trump's face. I'll show you, because generally Trump has a knack for, I know some people don't like him, but let's be honest. The people that have, I don't know how to say this, kind of gone against him, he has drove the bus over them. He's ran them over. And, you can look back at all the people that kind of got in his way or trash talked him or whatever in public, and he kind of hammered them. Now, does that mean their career's over? No, that's not what I'm saying. It just means that he tends to essentially not take certain words lightly, words that go against him. And I think right now that there's this back and forth between Jerome Powell. And here's the thing. A lot of people don't know this. The Fed, the Federal Reserve, is not a government entity. So to a certain point, yes, I believe that Jerome Powell is correct. Trump does not have the authority to get rid of Jerome Powell, just like Trump does not have the authority to fire the CEO of Google or have him removed. With that being said, the Federal Reserve, being a private bank, and the exclusive rights to print money for the United States government, to monitor the value of the dollar for the United States government, is a privilege. Just like it's a privilege for us to be able to print money and have other countries around the world take it as the world reserve currency, the Fed has the privilege of creating the U.S. money and monitoring it. Everybody has a boss, including Jerome Powell. He has a board that he has to answer to. So, we could see them swap out. There's already rumors of who the next person will be. And there's a possibility we may see him switch out sooner than we think. Now, does that mean Jerome Powell gets fired? Who knows? If they want, the board members could push him out, and essentially put someone new in just to keep Trump happy, because ultimately Trump could revoke the privilege of printing U.S. dollars. Trump has the ability to end the Fed. This is not a new term. It just so happens that anybody that has ever talked about it is no longer with us as president, especially. So where I'm going with this is, it's a touchy area on this topic. Now, honestly, I think what they're going to roll out is the next Fed meeting, Jerome Powell is going to be forced to cut interest rates. That's what Trump wants. He may not think cutting interest rates is in the best interest of the dollar, the best interest of the banks, the best interest of what's going on. But if Trump thinks that, and Trump is threatening to have him removed, possibly maybe even end the Fed, then they may do that. Ultimately, we know raising interest rates and cutting interest rates have a big impact on the U.S. dollar and on the stock market and on the economy. And cutting interest rates is going to be great for the stock market. We could see a big jump in the stock market, a big jump in Bitcoin, and even a big jump in our stuff, gold and silver. However, with that being said, it's also going to have a big jump in inflation and pricing. Now, here's the thing. Jerome Powell has the ability to kind of cover himself if he wanted to and say, hey, I'm being forced. But on the flip side, I don't think he would do that because he has to also instill a certain amount of confidence in what they do. And he's going to want to save face and not make it look like, oh, Trump got his way, So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. It's only a couple weeks away. And literally, gold and silver kind of, a lot of people have said it, it seems like it's trading sideways right now. We've seen gold pull back. I actually read an article earlier. Gold had a pullback. Gold didn't really have a pullback. Gold went down $25, $26. Whoop-de-doo. When you're less than $50 in gold away from the all-time high, that's not no major pullback. That's a dip. It's a bump in the road. Now, the great thing is going to be silver. Silver is still off of its all-time high by a lot. It's off of its 11-year high by literally $2, $2.50. There's room for silver to really go higher. And that's kind of one of the reasons why the couple gold coins that I have, I would like to trade them out and possibly get some silver, some more silver. Is there a right or wrong answer? Gold could keep going up. Who knows? And silver could continue to be manipulated forever. Maybe I'm wrong when I tell you that manipulation can't last forever. That's why I always say I'm not a licensed financial advisor. I'm telling you guys my opinion and what I think will happen. And I leave that up to you guys to make the decision because ultimately no one is going to care more about your finances than you. And once you realize that, you have to really pay attention. I know some people literally, they go to work all day. They're exhausted just to make ends meet. And their 401k, their retirement, all their money, all their wealth is in the hands of somebody else. And the answer that I usually get is, well, they're licensed. They know what they're doing. Just because someone's licensed doesn't mean they know what they're doing. I know people that have a driver's license and they can't drive worth a whatever, worth a poo. So it's kind of interesting to see how people view what's going on. And some people have this belief that nothing bad can ever happen to the stock market. Why? Because the stock market always goes up. Over time, it always goes up. And to a certain point, yes, they are right. It has always gone up. But we have had spurts of time where, people have lost essentially access to their wealth for, 11, 12 years. Now, someone might ask how that's possible. Well, if the stock market gets pumped up, blown up higher and higher, and all of a sudden we see a stock market crash and it plunges down, will it come back? There's a good chance it will come back eventually. But in the meantime, you can't sell your shares. If you're set for retirement, you can't retire. At least you can't retire and sell what you have. Why? Because if, let's say, you're invested in a stock that, it's at $200 a share right now, maybe you bought in at, maybe even you started buying at $100 a share, 120, 140, 160, 180, 200. You've been buying all the way through. You've been dollar cost averaging. And, as it goes up, hey, that's okay. You got more shares. And now you're sitting on a big pile of shares at $200 a share. And all of a sudden, the price just tanks. It goes down to 50, or we'll say 150 for a minute. It goes down to 150. And then what do? Well, a lot of people are just going to double down. They're going to put in whatever they have in their savings account in there. Okay. And then all of a sudden it drops another $50 and now it's down to 100. You don't have more money to put in. You're kind of stuck until it comes back. And over the next 10 or 12 years, it slowly creeps back up. But that still can delay your retirement. It can delay what's going on. And then if you put all your extra cash in there and then all of a sudden compound that with you just got laid off from work, You just lost hours. Maybe they canned you, found an excuse to can you, whatever the case may be. Now you don't have income. And a lot of people will say, oh, that's no big deal. I can get unemployment. I actually know one person that recently got laid off, and he's like, I get unemployment. I ain't worried about it. Here's the thing. Unemployment is not going to be there forever. And if the economy really starts to tank, there's a good chance government is going to start looking to cut different stuff. Because if tax revenue gets cut, that basically means government revenue gets cut. They're going to have to cut programs, or they're going to have to print more money. I'll give you a great scenario, Venezuela. We've talked about Venezuela in a lot of different videos. Venezuela, when they had so many big deals with Shell, making deals, Chevron, making deals for their oil, well, the government had tons of money coming in. They were selling the oil. They had lots of money. Anybody that needed government benefits, it was no big deal. They just give them the government benefits. Well, when the oil price came down, they no longer had all that revenue coming in. Well, they didn't want to tell people, hey, we got to can the benefits. So they just figured we'll just print more money. We'll print the money and keep the plan going. Keep all these government benefits, these socialist programs, whatever you want to call them. Even though they didn't have the money, they were printing it. Well, eventually, the more and more printing took the money down in value. It debases the money. The more money that's out there, it debases the money supply. And then eventually we know what happened, the outcome in Venezuela. Everything crashed. And as the money becomes worthless, other countries don't want to send goods to your country. Why? Because they don't want your currency, whatever it is. Here in the United States, everybody wants the U.S. dollars right now. They want them because it's the world reserve currency. However, people are slowly getting away from that. And that's a sign of where things could be going. Because at a certain point, if nobody wants U.S. dollars, then U.S. dollars are only really good here in the United States at home. And when all those dollars that are being held in central banks around the world start flooding back into the U.S., because they're going to want to get rid of them. How are they going to get rid of them? They're not going to throw them away. They're going to spend them. They're going to push them back into the U.S. economy, and they're going to withdraw products from the United States. Products that we made. As them dollars float around in the United States, people in the United States are going to buy more stuff with them dollars. And essentially, prices are going to go up because same amount of goods with more money essentially means the prices are going to go up. People will be willing to pay more to get what they want, especially if they have the fiat dollars. Now, obviously, if more goods were to flood into the United States, well, then that would drive prices down. And that's kind of why I think a lot of these tariffs are going on right now, but they're going on in a unique way. Hey, we're going to put tariffs out there, but we're going to do a 30-day suspension. Okay. Well, what happens in that 30 days? Every company rushes to flood stuff into the United States to beat the tariffs. Now, that's a card that we've been playing now for a little while. And I think it's a great card that Trump is playing. Eventually, they catch on to it, though. And they keep sending us stuff to beat the tariffs. And because there's more stuff coming in at a faster rate, then essentially the prices will stay down to a certain point. But eventually, one of a couple things are going to have to happen. Either Trump is going to have to implement the tariffs. He can't keep kicking the can down the road forever. Or they're going to slow down on sending stuff because they're going to realize what's going on. Because right now, because they're flooding this stuff into the United States, we have the ability to still buy it. And there's more here. And here's the thing. Even if tariffs kick in, what do you think, or the economy slows down or whatever the case may be, they're not going to send all this stuff back to China or back to wherever it came from. So essentially, once it's here. It's going to be consumed. And I find it interesting that a lot of people have this belief. When I talk to this about people, to people, I'll have people tell me that these countries need us. China needs the United States. They need us to buy their stuff. Here's the thing. We're buying on credit and we're paying in paper. I understand the people in other countries may not have the money to purchase it, but at the end of the day, I mean, we're the lucky ones. We're able to print money and essentially get the items that we want. And in this case right now, more and more people are just going into debt. That's why I find it funny when you've got people having to finance their Whataburger or their Sonic or whatever they're buying on Grubhub because they've partnered in with this Flex Pay or whatever where you can make 4 payments for your food. It's ridiculous where people are at now. And I find it interesting. I'm seeing more and more homes going on the market for sale. You know, what's going on that all these houses are hitting the market? You know, they say the economy's great, and we're going to get fed that right up until the end, until it's too late and it's too obvious. I mean, literally, you think of yourself in a burning building, and everybody just sitting there saying, "Oh no, it's okay, it's nothing major." They're working on putting it out. We've got some little fire extinguishers and stuff. It's going to be all right. Or a ship that's sinking, then them playing the music. Oh no, go hit the buffet, go have fun, don't worry about it. Right up until the end. And that's exactly what I think is going to happen with the US dollar. But here's the thing. Smart money is already moving out of the dollar. They're preparing. They're buying anything they can buy. Most of them are buying, the rich people are buying gold, they're buying silver. But even if you're buying canned goods, even if you're buying toilet paper, even if you're buying something tangible. I mean, you take a canned good, I've seen canned goods that I think some of them last like, 2-3 years? Expiration date, 2 years? And here's the thing, just because the expiration comes on a canned good, obviously, this is just my opinion, it doesn't mean it's bad. Yeah, I understand FDA says when a canned good expires, it's no good or whatever. It's just a best buy date. I mean, that's what it is. It's a best buy date, but they want to put these dates on there, and people panic. I talked to one lady one day. She told me she thought it was disgusting that I buy 25% off or 50% off groceries. For those of you that don't know what that is, I did a video on it one day. You know, you'll go in the produce department and maybe they'll put these little half-off stickers, yellow stickers or red stickers, depending on where you're at. And you look at it and you're like, okay, you know, hey, it's 50% off or 25% off, but it's still good. I mean, I showed a bunch of stuff and someone's like, that's disgusting that you would like resort to eating that. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a great way to save money. I wish I could buy all my groceries, but that would require me to go to the grocery store every day almost to buy those items. More and more people are starting to buy those items now, in fact. I don't see them as often on the shelves now like I used to. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever bought something that was 50% off, 25% off because of a Best Buy date? I've actually left stuff in my fridge, even in some cases, 4 or 5 days past when I got it, and it had a yellow sticker. I bought it as a yellow sticker. I left it in my fridge, and then I looked at it and said, you know what, that still looks good. And a lot of that has to do with all the stuff they put on our food now. I mean, look at all the preservatives that go into food nowadays. Even if you think it doesn't have it, like maybe you're buying lettuce and you're thinking, oh, lettuce doesn't have preservatives, it's all natural. You know, they spray that stuff with chemicals. I mean, have you ever bought, and I bought this one little bag of shredded lettuce one time, and I bought it as a yellow sticker, and I put it in my fridge, and then I got busy, and I had a bunch of stuff come up, and it just sat there. I pulled it out like 2.5 weeks past the date, and it still looked the same. And why is that? Because of the Best Buy. It's because they put all that preservatives and stuff on there. You know, so, it's something to think about. More people are going to be buying that. I actually was talking to a friend earlier, and he was telling me how he's seeing restaurants slowing down. For me, that's nothing new because I talk to a lot of restaurant owners. I'm friends with a lot of restaurant owners. And I see these places are, less and less people showing up at the restaurants. You go into some of these restaurants, and it's the middle of the day, lunchtime, and they've got 2 or 3 people in there. Why is that? So once you realize what's really going on, then you can actually try to do something about it. Now, trying to do something about it could mean a number of things. make changes for yourself and your family. Maybe try to raise the alarm. I try to raise the alarm on a lot of this stuff just to get people thinking, and then ultimately they can make their own decision. Is my strategy the right one? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I won't know until stuff really breaks down. But I can tell you, I put a lot of time into thinking about what's happening and how it's going to affect stuff down the road. You know, a lot of people, they just think, oh, well, the restaurant's slow. I guess maybe they'll go out of business, but it doesn't affect me. That's what a lot of people think. But people don't understand, when businesses start going out of business, it does affect you. It affects everything around you. You know, and as that happens more and more, if you can get in front of some of this stuff, you know, I told this friend, I said, well, yeah, that's why I think there's less and less markdown stuff at the grocery store. That's why less stuff, period, at the grocery store. Have you noticed? How many people have noticed, you know, before they used to have lots and lots of stuff, it seemed like. I'm talking like canned goods stacked all the way. Now they're pulling stuff forward again. I'm not going to say it's as bad as cough, you know, where we had like nothing in the stores. But more and more stuff is getting bought. Less and less people are going to the restaurants. They'd rather cook at home. Less and less people want to remodel their house, so they're not spending as much at Lowe's and Home Depot. Less and less people are buying miscellaneous goods at Walmart. I actually had read something that Walmart and Lowe's both are closing a lot of stores. Now, if that's true, I don't know. I only know what I heard, and I don't even know all the way what to believe when I read half the news nowadays. I like to think about what's really happening and how it could affect me. And right now, what do we see that's happening? Well, we're definitely seeing gold going to new all-time highs. Well, why is that? Why is all of a sudden gold going to new all-time highs? I mean, we went up $100 the other day in one day. So what is changing that all of a sudden gold is in high demand? Well, there's only one answer for that. People are getting nervous about where we're going, the path that we're on, and someone is buying up large amounts of gold, and it's driving the price up. Now, could that someone be the Federal Reserve, and they need to fill Fort Knox back up? Could it be the government because they know the direction we're going? Could it be the big banks who have all these financial analysts and they're like, hey, we need to invest in gold now while we can? Could it be everyday people like me and you? I mean, you know, why is silver kind of slow to go up, but it's still inching up? It's just a little bit slower going up. The fact that it's going up tells me that, you know, yeah, there's a certain amount of buying on silver, but there's a huge amount of paper shorting. And we'll see how a lot of this plays out. I mean, only time's going to tell. Obviously, when the Fed meeting comes out, there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff said from the Fed meeting. And I think from there, we're going to get a lot of good information. However, between now and then, we've got 2 weeks roughly. What's going to happen to the silver price in those 2 weeks? That's what I'm wondering. You know, the big question, when is it going to go up? When are we going to see silver go up? Are we going to see a big plunge? If the economy tanks, will we see silver and gold tank? Was that tank that we saw a couple weeks ago, was that the big dip and that's it? Now we're all uphill from here. Nobody has a crystal ball to know what's going on. However, you know, you can look at what's going on and try to make your best educated guess. Me personally, I'm hoping to put another good order in the next week. I wanted to put it in today, but the person I wanted to talk to wasn't there. And we'll see how it plays out, you know. So I know I'm excited about the future of gold and silver. I still think we're going to see $4,000 gold this year. I still think we're going to see $45 silver this year. I know there's a lot of people that think that's not possible because we're going into the summer. Generally, summer months tend to not do as well. Sell in May and go away. A lot of people plan their summer vacations, and that's it. And you don't see as much trading going on. However, I kind of expect that we are going to see some interesting stuff happening. I think more and more people are going to be moving into hard assets, specifically gold and silver. Now, I'm not knocking, when I say gold and silver, I'm not knocking other metals, platinum, palladium, whatever other metals people like. I think a lot of stuff will eventually start going up. I just prefer the thought of investing in gold, silver, because I think they're solid assets. They've been around for a long time. I think the silver is heavily manipulated, and I think gold is starting to really get acknowledged as a true safe haven asset. So we'll see what happens as time goes on. I thank everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you hit a thumbs up. If you have a question, please hit me up in the comments. You can leave me a comment and let me know what your question is. I try to keep up with everything, although I will be honest, lately comments, it's been hard to keep up with them. So just because I'm getting overwhelmed with a lot of different comments. If you enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe if you're new to the channel, and a special thank you to all the members of the channel. It is only $1.99 to become a member. I definitely see your comments every day if you're a member, because they do go straight to my phone. However, I may not get to them until the evening or even the next morning if I get a ton of them all at once. So we'll see what happens. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys again on T-Square Talk. Take care, everybody, and have a great day. Bye-bye.